everyone, and welcome to Behind the Tracks. My name is Cynthia, and I'm head of marketing at New Tracks and your host for this talk. This week, we will be chatting with Matheus Quintela, our product manager based in our headquarters, about the biggest challenges in implementing collision avoidance systems in underground hard rock mines specifically.
Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to have this talk with you. There is many challenges on underground mining, and talking specifically about CAS, collision avoidance system. We can name several, but let's just focus on three here. And I think the biggest one that I see on these, it's really the change management. It's about operator and pedestrian compliance, meaning that they need to understand the risk. They need to buy in the solution. They really need to trust on the solution. And change management on the mines are really, really difficult because the process of taking that solution, that it's going to affect your day-to-day, that it's going to keep you safe for sure, but to build that trust on the solution, it's really, really difficult. And I see this is the big challenge is really because when you think about it, the risks that a collision can have on the underground mine, which is a confined space, you don't have a whole lot of visibility on the way that it's going. So I do believe that if you don't buy in the process, if you don't buy in the solution, if you don't trust on the solution, it becomes just another system that it creates a disrupt environment, and it's really not do the usage of the system. So implementing a solution and changing management, it's really, I think it's the biggest challenge there. I also believe that it's just like when you do it, you need to do your risk assessment. You need to understand your operation. And if you don't have the buy-in, it's not going to work. It's going to fail. And, several mines around the world face that.
So change management would be really one of the top challenges to overcome once CAS is
exactly. I think the change management is the really first one that it needs to become over. If you don't get over that, you're not going to be successful implement a solution. And in the case of collision avoidance, which is a safety solution, yes, you need to do that. You need to let your people get aware and understand and buy in the solution. Moving ahead, I would say, and from my perspective, I do believe the location awareness, it's also something that it requires attention on the top three challenges. Implementing an underground CAS solution, it understands that you need to understand the cutting-edge technology that it's out there. Because in underground, since you cannot use a GNSS technology, they don't work underground. And just to be clear what it is, the GNSS, it's like a constellation of a GPS. Of course, there is others, but GPS is the one that is common used on the surface operations. And you need to understand other different sensors. So you need to use a different technologies. And not proven, but you need to do research and it need to be well designed. So I think the location awareness for collision avoidance, it's really key because you need to record your interaction. So you do need to record your near miss. You need to know where your pedestrians are. You need to know where your intersections, the most dangerous ones. For that, you need to record all that you can. And location means that you need to record the interactions in the locations. If you don't have a way to record that, you cannot you cannot act properly on that. So it is a problem that it needs to be solved. And the world is solving that with cutting-edge technologies. And we can name a lot, but we've been listening a lot about time of flight. So I guess time of flight is becoming really key to that perspective to solve some of these problems. And I think because underground, it's a really confined space, it's a dangerous place. And if you don't know about location, if you can't detect a pedestrian where he is and the equipment, you're going to have a problem for a collision avoidance solution. So I think that's also the second biggest challenge. And I would say moving forward about the third challenge, I think that because it's a confined space, it's underground. You don't have the sky open on top, so interference of radio frequency and technology, it can get really, really problematic because you need to combine several different solutions. So you need to have the best on top of these, and meaning that you need to select the best antennas. You need to know the propagation of the communication. You need to know if the mine, hard rock mine, it will get interfere about the metals, right? So all these radio frequencies, you need to really key on the channels that you select to use. And I guess this communication itself for underground, it's a challenge. I think a lot of the mines are looking to have a good communication in places still for the mines. Most of them, they use Linky feeder as a communication for radio base. We know that implementation of Wi-Fi underground is a challenge still. You can only get on the main ramps. But when you want to have data coming from the face where you're really getting the material, it's difficult because when you put it there, you have a blast, and then you're going to lose infrastructure. So all these is a challenge. And when you have a solution that is communicated peer-to-peer, because of course the collision avoidance systems, they need to work as a peer-to-peer. You cannot rely on infrastructure. But if you want to report that to a top, to have a report, to have a heat map and all that, you need to have some type of infrastructure. But to select the technologies for the communication between the equipment and the pedestrians, it needs to be really, really well researched and really well designed and selected. So I think interference on the underground mine, it is a challenge itself just because it's underground. But I think I would say that the third challenge, it is the communication.
From what I'm hearing, it's obviously very different from a surface mine to an underground mine. The way that a CAS, we call it a CAS system, but really a collision avoidance system, is implemented. And mostly because some of the technologies that work well on surface, like you said, GPS, just isn't necessarily as adapted to underground. So I guess what I want to know is, do you believe that the industry is ready right now to adopt this type of technology?
Yeah, I think, like in South Africa, they put this regulation, and we've been hearing that it needs to be implemented by the end of 2020. But I can tell you that to deliver a safety solution, you need to have compliance ready. You need to kind of like certify when you do an implementation. So you need to certify installation. So I think the market, it's not ready yet. It's getting there, but I think there is still a kind of like a road to work towards to a solution, a completely solution to that. And I think talking specifically about these, we've been following a lot of groups around the world, and for what I've been hearing, there is roadmap saying that it's 2025. There is some roadmap saying 2021. And I do believe that they still need the work to be done. But I think we're getting there. It's possible that it's coming closer, but I don't believe that that is a solution quite ready yet and the full potential of collision avoidance. Because the collision avoidance has 3 levels. When you talk about level 7, level 8, level 9, I would say level 7, there is a lot of solutions out there, and I think for that perspective, yes, it's ready. Level 8, also that is few, but actually level 9, when you need to intervene on the vehicle, it is a challenging to have a full solution yet. Of course, like I said, if you're going to go work with a compliance and a certification for installation, it is difficult to do those things because you kind of like need to stop a vehicle, right? So that itself, it's a challenge. And I think if you don't have the safety compliance on the back, it can be problematic. So again, it's not quite there, but it's getting there. I think it's on the road. Let's say that.
Oh, that's good and that's exciting, I guess. And I feel like, once it is ready and it's out there, it's probably going to be a big game changer, right, for the industry and for safety in underground.
Yes, it will. It becomes a problem, right, in the mines because when you have an accident underground, you affect the production, and if you affect the production, you can't get material out to get processed, whatever the ore it is. If it's a gold, if it's a silver, you cannot process those materials if you don't have it. So when you have an accident, first it's a life, right? That it's in like everyone wants to get home safe, and we always should strive for that. And it's a life that is there, but also it affects the economic impact for the mines. And I think when the solution is out there, it's going to be a big change. Again, we're going to talk about the change management again. Even though if the solution is ready, if the mine or the operators or the pedestrians, they don't buy in the solution, it's difficult to make it work, right? It's a one-to-one game. It needs to have the buy-in from everyone. But when it's well implemented, it will make a big impact, and everyone will be ready to go home safe.
So the first biggest challenge would be change management, correct? So making sure that the workers are adopting the new behaviors associated with the system to make sure that it's being used properly and it's being, the whole thing is compliant.
Yep.
And then secondly would be location awareness. So making sure that the data collected is contextualized from a location perspective. And the third challenge would be communication and being able to implement a peer-to-peer communication network that works not only between the people themselves, but between the devices, the equipment, and the people.
Exactly.
So thank you. Thanks, Mateus, for sharing all of this insightful information. We're excited to share this with our audience, and we will be recording more of these talks. So stay tuned. And if you have any other questions for Mateus, you can always message us in the comments, email us as well at info@newtracks.com. We're really interested in knowing, if you're interested in other topics for us to cover. And of course, if you have any further questions on collision avoidance specifically for Mateus or for anyone at NewTracks, we're here to answer them. So thanks again, Mateus, and we look forward to seeing more information about collision avoidance coming out to our audience.